What's going on? Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. My name is Jerome Jones. I'm here with none other than the man, the myth. And you already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing great, man. Hey, listen. Who are the champions? Let's go. It's funny. I have my Eagles gear on. I usually try to represent my team, but I've been wearing so much Michigan gear this week. Like I don't have anything Michigan gear this week right now. So I say I guess I gotta put the Eagles on, but you know how I am. I'm feeling good about I'm feeling good this weekend. But before we get into the game, how you feeling? How you feeling about like college atmosphere right now, man?
I don't even know if you want to know the answer to that question, Jerome, to be honest with you. I always feel good about football in general, but I'm not a fan of where college football is heading right now. I'm not. So,
Man, it's a lot of moving parts, not only in college football, but in the NFL as well. It's a changing of hands right now. Go ahead, Ray.
I'm going to say this to me, and I know they won't do this because no one cares what I think. If you're going to transfer and go through the portal, I mean, obviously I can't. There's nothing I can say or nothing that I can do that's going to stop it. If you get NIL money from a team and you switch another team the next year, you should have to give that money back. Okay, and I know people don't want to hear that because they think that's un-American, but we are really creating a complete free agency atmosphere right now. And we all know that football is about competition, but we're creating an atmosphere where guys don't want to compete anymore. They'll just jump ship like that. And it's getting to be really scary.
I'm going to take it a step forward, right? And say it's worse than the free agent period because at least in free agency, you get signed to that team and you're stuck there until that contract's over or you demand a trade. Here, you can go somewhere and then literally just leave.
I mean, we already had Dante Moore leaving UCLA after not even barely getting his feet wet. So, I mean, and you could say it's not about the NIL money, and maybe it's not. I don't know Dante Moore personally, but there's got to be something that's playing into it. Maybe it's that he didn't get to play as much as they thought he was going to. Again, you're talking about a guy that don't want to compete. And I brought this up to somebody I was working with the other day. And he said, well, how about Jalen Hurts? If Jalen Hurts would have been – Jalen Hurts competed against Tua for 2 years before he left and went to Oklahoma. That's the point. No one's going to tell me that Jalen Hurts is not a competitor. You can argue anything else you want about him, but he's definitely a competitor. But not every guy is. Every guy is not going to want to compete. Some guys would just run.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just looked it up just now. I didn't know that Dante Moore is back at Oregon. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Just committed to Oregon. But yeah, let's get into our first topic here, Ray. Obviously, we're going to talk about a lot of the football news, but let's bring it back a little bit now. We be on Wednesday. I think Ray was really trying to allow my craziness to die down, so that's why he didn't really want to get on. Super excited. It calmed down just a little bit. I'm still excited, obviously. Michigan beating Washington, being a national champion. I'm gonna let you take the floor, Ray, because again, I think I could talk all day about this game and about how I feel. But what's your feelings on the game? I know we both picked Michigan last week. What's your game? Did it turn out the way you thought it was? How's your feeling right now?
No, it pretty much went the way I thought it would. I thought if Washington didn't come out and score early, that they were going to struggle a little bit. Did I think that Michigan was going to run the way they did that successfully? I didn't know that for sure. But I mean, you have Blake 305 yards rushing. So we all know that scoring points comes down to explosive plays. But Michigan found a way to hit explosive plays off the run game, which, again, we're not surprised because Donovan Edwards is that guy. And
Right.
Blake Corum is that guy in the fact that they kind of like they're a yin and yang play combination. Corum's a tough inside runner who can hit an explosive play, and Donovan Edwards is just a 50-yard run, 25-yard run every time he touches the ball guy. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, J.J. McCarthy just had to manage the game and let the run game and the defense. And Michigan's defense was stellar, man. And that's all there was to it. You can say what you want about them. They didn't allow Washington to hit big plays. They didn't allow them. There was a couple here and there. Get me wrong. There's a couple here and there. But they didn't let it get into the point where Washington was hitting big plays on every drive. And that's usually what Washington does. They'll have one big play on just about every drive. And that didn't happen against Michigan. And again, I'm not surprised because, Jerome, I think it was like a month and a half ago, I told you that I thought then that Michigan was the best. And it's not that they're a super, 5-star talented roster. There are just no weaknesses on Michigan. And that's what they played like that all year pretty much. And here's the other thing, and I want to close out what I think about Michigan with this. You have made Jim Harbaugh the toast of Michigan for the rest of his life. That's easy to figure out. And also, the fact that Michigan went undefeated without their coach being on the sidelines for 6 games makes it even more prevalent, more just like, wow, they did that with their coach not even on the sidelines half the time. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So what you did is you made what Michigan did even more impressive by trying to beat them down and take it away from them.
Yeah, a lot of adversity during the season for Michigan, man, and a lot of investigations and accusing and all of that. I know I shared some of my gripes with some of the decisions earlier in the season. So for us to, you're right, for us to very, very satisfying. I mean, you can say, oh, but I did this and I did this, but at the end of the day, man, we beat the best of the best, So,
yep.
I think I enjoyed this win a lot because of that. I really do. Now, for me, good.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. All right. So for me, I agree with you, right? The big plays was the big thing. This game, it did turn out exactly how I thought, except for 2 things, and both of them involving both of the quarterbacks. I'm getting to that in a second. But for me, I really did think this game, I kind of telegraphed this game, talked about it for 4 or 5 weeks now, saying that this Michigan defense is probably their best defense in 10 years and don't even have a first-round pick in this draft, at least. The last time we had a really good defense, we had, Aiden Hutchinson and Ojabo on the end and destroying guys. I don't think we have a player like that on this defense this year. But, the fact that we have some really good players, we have 2 sophomore players that are probably going to be first-round picks in the future, and Will Johnson and Mason Graham. I think those 2 guys, 2 sophomore guys playing high level, are better players this playoffs. So I think that was a big thing right there. Then, we talked about plays. The fact that Washington only had 1, maybe 2 big plays in this game, and Michigan had like 5. And it was the perfect recipe. I said it last week. The way that we want to play this game is exactly how we played Alabama. Don't let them keep doing the deep plays. Keep them from doing the deep plays. Run the ball as much as we could. I didn't think we were going to run off those 2 big runs that we did, and I was very satisfying in the beginning of the game. But I think us being able to have the big plays and limit the other teams from their big plays both Alabama and Washington was known for that, their big play ability. So if you can stop that, you take them out of the game. I think Washington came in with a really good game plan, to be honest, because they came in like, hey, chuck it up. We're gonna wear down this defense, which at times I was like, man, they're looking like they're doing that. But Michigan's defense was able to get turnovers in the game, stop them on critical third downs. I think that was the key on that defense. Washington was like, hey, we're going to think and dunk, and a lot of them was successful. A lot of screen plays to stop our pass rush, a lot of quick throws, get the ball out Penix's hand quick, and it was actually successful for a long time. It was just they could not convert on the third and fourth downs that they was trying to do. So I think that was a big part of it. Ray, look like you want to say something?
No, I just think that, like you said, I think that the game plan was solid for Washington in the beginning, and it kept them in the game, like trying to hit some shorter passes, keep the game moving, keep the clock moving. The fact that they only ran the ball for 47 yards, man, was a killer for them. I mean, like you can't like. I know the Michigan only had the one sack against Michael Penix, but they harassed him and beat him up the whole game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's going to tie into what I was going to say about the quarterback. Everything outside of the quarterback, play exactly what I thought was going to happen. Now, the quarterback play was, I wish both different levels. It's in the podcast on Tuesday that we had, the first podcast. Make sure you check that out on Tuesday night. A little plug there. So, my thing was that a little disappointed in the quarterback play, not in the sense both of them played well. They did what they had to do. Penix, I was more disappointed. I was, and I think we both said this. We both rooted for Penix. My issue is that now he keeps showing a good defense. It's probably the best defense he played all year, and he couldn't stay healthy in the game. And I think that's going to be a factor evaluating him in the draft. And we're going to talk about that, in the future with, how he's going to look and all that. But, with him, he got injured two or three different times in that game alone. Now, he gutted it out. He played, but you could tell at the end of the game he was worn out. He was battered. It didn't matter at that point. At that point, the game was kind of out of reach at that point anyway, but you can tell that he could not perform to his peak abilities because he kept getting injuries. So I was a little disappointed that he didn't stay healthy. I was hoping that he showed out really well to, get his stock up and show that he's one of those guys. But I think that with the injury in that last game, and again, it's not a season-ending injury, but it kept getting against a really good defense that NFL teams might put that into a factor. So we'll talk about that in the future when we talk. And we're going to be doing draft stuff after this week. But that was a little concerning with me, just that he didn't play up to that part. Now get to the Michigan side. I think JJ McCarthy struggled in this game. For us to be able to run the ball that we were, I felt like that should have opened up the defense for him a little bit, and he was struggling. And that was very unfortunate because, he's getting a lot of draft comps, and I think that's going to hurt him a little bit. I think he should come back, and I'm not just saying that as a Michigan fan, but I think he should get stock better. Plus, this draft class is just insane anyway. So I think that he should.
If I were JJ McCarthy,
my thing was. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. I didn't know you were. You're like fading in out.
Oh no, you good. But yeah, I think that my issue is that in that game, with his inability to really throw the ball, because he only threw the ball 140 times, 10 for 18. And I think it wasn't really like the plays that he needed on third and fourth down, he just couldn't get. Now he was efficient and he was able to have a good passing rating in that game because of some of the stuff that he did outside of those downs. But I think that he had to show a little bit more on those critical downs because in the beginning of the game, man, I was sweating bullets, man. I'm telling you, I was over here like, man, we can't get off the foot on third downs. I think like both teams was like 0-8 at one point, like on third downs. It was really bad. So I think that he needs to be able to deliver some of those balls a little bit better. There was a ball that was he had a wide receiver wide open. He threw it behind him. Wide receiver couldn't catch it. I think he was throwing on the run. He was trying to get it out to him, and he just kind of like sold it too much. But the good plays that he did do, he had some good plays. So the one to Loveland where Loveland got like 50-something yards on one play and stuff like that. So I think he has ability. It just he needs to be more consistent with the abilities. And I don't know if that's the running game where he has such a strong running game. If he comes back, he's definitely going to have to throw a little bit more. I mean, especially if Donovan Edwards is going to be the lead back there. He's going to be more of a receiving back anyway. So he is going to have to develop a better passing game in order to be drafted where I'm sure he wants to be. So as a Michigan fan and as a football fan, I think he should come back to football and see what he does next year. But go ahead, Ray. I'll let you.
No, I agree with you 100%, Jerome. It has nothing to do with – it's pretty much about the stable of quarterbacks that are coming out this year. Yeah. If he stays in and has another good year where even if he just wins at Michigan, I'm not even saying win a national title. If he wins games next year and he improves his play, you may see where he'll get taken in the first round. Right now, dude, he don't look like a third-round quarterback. He just doesn't. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good player. There's talent there, but you don't always see accuracy, and that's what scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it's the consistency with the accuracy. I agree.
Yep.
But yeah, man. Altogether, it was a great game. Adonze had a really good game as a wide receiver. He did miss on the fourth down. They did say it was his fault for running the route wrong. I think that was a real critical play right there, though. It really was. I don't know how much of a swing that would have picked, but that was a huge part of the game that they missed that. But at the same time, Michigan was giving up fourth downs as well, and giving the right. So I don't think it was a huge swing because again, Michigan missed on fourth downs too, so we allowed them to keep. I did not like that fourth down play. I did not like that fourth down play that we did. I think it was horrible. I think that was a horrible call. And that's kind of the persuasion of a coach. At first he brought the kicker out, and then they timed out and talked about it and went for it. I say stick to your guns. If you're gonna come out there and if you would have first decided to put your offense out there and then timed out and then put the kicker out there, I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. But if your initial thought was, let me get the kicker, let me get some points, and then you go back and bring the offense back out there, I think that's not a good idea. And it was 4th and 5. It wasn't like it was 4th and 2 or 4th and 1.
So, Jerome, I don't like the idea of calling a timeout there because you're letting the defense get set.
Exactly.
I don't like that. I think I don't mind even going for it. I just don't want to let the defense get set up for whatever I'm going to do. I want to make sure that we're doing. Yeah, I want everything to be moving quickly, so the defense isn't set. It's hard to nitpick in a game where you pretty much dominated on defense like you guys did.
Yeah. Do you think
I am a fan of Colson Loveland, the tight end. I think he's going to be a good player at the next level. I do.
I agree. Yeah. My next question on this game, then we can move on. Do you think it was more of Michigan's offense or Washington's defense?
I think Michigan came out with the theory that we're going to wear down Washington's defense, and they're not going to be able to stop us eventually, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I love what Michigan's game plan was on offense. I think if J.J. McCarthy plays a little better, you guys blow him out. I mean, you blow him out anyway, but blow them out. If he hits a couple of them third down guys, like either were a couple passes were behind guys, if he hits them the game's over by the middle of the third quarter. So
Yeah, and this game, I mean, the play calling was a little conservative in this game more than most. In Alabama game, you see us, we run, orgy out there, which we did in this game a little bit, but we run orgy out there in Alabama. We tried the flea flicker. We had some of those exotic, passing plays, near the goal line where you got Blake McCrum and Cornelius Johnson wide open. So I think that this game plan was a little, straightforward. It was, it was a little bit less Jim Harbaugh to me, which was kind of weird because he always does one or two of those kind of like specialty plays. I didn't see a lot of that. It was more like let's run. Washington did a good job after those two big runs. They started really clamping down on our defense. And then at that point, that's why I was like, all right, JJ, this is your time to shine. Let's see what you can do. And I don't think he kind of lived it up to that, Bill. What's your thoughts on that, though?
No, I think that, like you said, I think Michigan came in with the mindset, for one, they knew they were going to harass Michael Penix, and they weren't going to allow a lot of big plays.
Yeah.
I don't know how they knew that, but they knew it, man. They knew if we just beat on this team long enough, we're going to hit some big run plays, and our defense, for some reason, they knew the defense was going to hold up well against Washington. And I know no one else has, but again, Michigan's defense is good. So
no, and the other big surprise to me was that we barely blitzed this game. We was blitzing like crazy against Alabama. We totally switched the switch. We was like, yeah, we're gonna put all the guys out there, and we're gonna only pass rush 4 guys, and that was a little scary at times because you only rushing 4. Sometimes Penix was getting some guys open. I'm just like, ooh man, because like they were finding some soft spots in that zone sometimes. And I'm just like, oh man, this is bad.
Yeah, but Jerome, they did, and like you said, I think the one thing that Michigan doesn't have is great linebacker play.
Yeah,
I think that was a thought. Well, we're going to hit some in the middle of the field, take advantage of some linebackers, and Michigan was like, okay, you could do that all day. We don't care as long as you don't hit nothing over the top. We're going to win this game, and that's exactly what happened. So.
Yeah, I agree with the game plan too. That's what I was saying last week. You gotta keep them from getting those big plays, and you'll be good.
I'm going to just close it out for my side with this. I don't like Michigan, but I have always liked Jim Harbaugh. Even when going from Michigan to the NFL, you know what? I like guys that work for things. This is why I don't like about the portal. Mm-hmm. I like guys that work for things. Jim Harbaugh, even when he was in the NFL, was one of them guys. He wasn't a super talented guy. He outworked other guys, and I respect that. Sorry. You don't have to like Jim Harbaugh. I don't know him personally, but I know one thing. I know 2 things about Jim Harbaugh. He will do anything to win, and he's a very good coach.
I agree. Yeah, man. So I know a few years ago, maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago, I was asked. I
remember the fire Jim Harbaugh shirts, man. I remember.
Listen, I had to apologize for Jim Harbaugh. I had to apologize to Harry Roseman. I had to apologize. I get it, man. Listen, I'm not afraid to apologize for my mistakes. So
okay. One more thing. Good thing I talked you off the ledge, right? And number 2 is, will Jim Harbaugh stay at Michigan? That's going to be the question from now for the next 2 or 3
I'm hearing that he's talking with the LA Chargers right now.
If I were him, that's the team I would want to go to.
I don't see that fit, but hey, man, it is what it is. I get it.
I see a fit there, man. You got a young, talented quarterback who hasn't rushed his stride yet, and you have, dude. People act like the Chargers defense isn't good. No, they were not coached well at all. Yeah. But they have 2 great pass rushers. That's a great place to start.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean,
it's interesting.
Here's the thing. if you're Jim Harbaugh, because apparently Bill Belichick is leaving New England, he's going to go to a team too. If you're any team, if you're any coach, do you want to coach the Chargers or the Washington football team?
Chargers, man, they got a better
Correct.
roster.
Better weather, more
They're aging a
talent.
little bit. They're aging a little bit, but they do have a better roster.
There's again, you have a foundation here. You have a quarterback with a lot of upside, and you have two great edge rushers right now. I think the defense just needs to be tweaked, man. I really do. I don't think it's as bad as they played. Every team needs more talent, more depth. But again, if I were a coach, the Chargers would be the team I would want to go to.
Yeah, I agree. So let's, as we're talking about coaching, let's the bombshell, the earthquake, the atomic bomb that went off this week. I don't think anybody's seen this. And me and you've been kind of talking about it, man. And I felt even you got rocked by this news, but Nick Saban retires. Wow. He been with Alabama for what, over 10 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Been, with Florida, been with LSU. He's been around, man. But
it's either 14 or 17 years. I think he's been in Alabama now, dude. Believe it or not.
Yeah, got 9 rings. Wait, no, was it 9? No, I'm sorry.
6. He has 6 at Alabama, and I think he has 2 from different programs he was with.
Yeah. So he's doing a lot, man. He's retiring this year, right? When I broke the news to you, Ray, what was to us?
Honestly, it was first thought was, is he really that tired of where college football is going? Because if I were him, and I'm a little distressed about where college football is going right now. And then my other thought is does he have health issues? Of course,
100%. Yeah, when I heard the news, it came from a ESPN guy, but you know how ESPN they have a million people out there that works for them, and they branch off in different ways and stuff like that. So when I seen the news from one of the ESPN guys who covers Alabama, but I just couldn't believe it because I'm over here looking at his Twitter account or X account, whatever you want to call it. Looking at this don't seem right. I don't know. This don't seem right. I don't know. I couldn't believe it. Because I'm all right, I'm on his page. I'm all right, this is an ESPN guy. He's getting followed by all the ESPN people. I couldn't make it out. And then, maybe 30 minutes after that, ESPN released it. And I believed it a little bit more, but I still was like, there's no way. And then when Alabama finally announced it, I was like, oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, because when I seen it, I was just scrolling on Twitter and I seen that guy's tweet, his initial tweet. And normally when, a sub or a lower known entity in ESPN hit something in, usually you get Adam Scheffler or somebody like that retweets it. They didn't retweet it right away. So I'm just I was just confused. And then maybe 30 minutes after that, that's when Adam Scheffler retweeted, and I'm just oh, this is real. This is crazy. So I thought it was interesting to see how that was. It kind of blindsided me. I didn't expect it. I think it's cool to be the team to kind of make him
No, I get that. I think honestly, I think that for him, I'm sure he would have loved to have gone out winning, for sure.
Yeah.
2, I'm a little surprised he quit or retired, I should say, with a pretty good team still. I'm a little surprised by that. But again, I don't know what goes on in his personal life. I don't know if he has health issues because that's what I'm hearing now, that there's some health concerns there. And honestly, Jerome, when is enough enough, man? Like I tell my wife all the time, I'm getting a little older, and I think like the time that I have now, I want to have good times. I want to spend good times with my family and everything. And maybe it's just that. Maybe it's like, yeah, man, I'm in my early 70s. What do I have? Maybe 5 or 10 years of like quality life left. Let me go out and enjoy them. I made a ton of money. No,
Yeah.
no one's ever going to question it. Nick Saban's not one of the top 5 college football coaches of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. So, I mean, what else does he have to prove?
No, I agree, and
So
I think it was um, good.
it's kind of like Bill Belichick. Then like if Nick Saban wanted to just say he was just tired of coaching Alabama, which why would you be? He would get hired tomorrow.
100%.
Tomorrow, like literally, like Nick Saban quits, resigns at Alabama at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By 3:05, 3 other teams are calling him. Well, these
100%.
other teams are calling him anyway to see
Yeah.
what he feels.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I'm
I don't
sure.
know. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to stay on Alabama's? Like, is he going to be on their payroll? Is he going to be like somebody who gives him, kind of helps him out still, or is he just going to walk away completely? I don't know that.
Yeah, that's the part I don't know. I do know that they say he's retiring from coaching at least, and he's not planning on going to another team. So that's the part that I did hear. But I agree with you, right? It's definitely a different situation. We got two other legends in college football. I mean, in the NFL. Nick Saban. I'm sorry, not Nick Saban. Bill Belichick. Parting ways with New England, and then Pete Carroll. Not really getting fired, but I guess they're calling it a promotion. He's like a consultant, I guess.
Pete Carroll's another one. He's in his early 70s, man. When is enough? I mean, like,
Correct.
It's a shame for Pete Carroll, man. He had that second Super Bowl ring in his back pocket and blew it.
Yeah,
That's a little bit. But, I mean, I think Pete Carroll was respected enough where he may find himself in the Hall of Fame eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue that Pete Carroll's a good coach.
Yeah, I
He's
think
a
so.
very good defensive mind. He's a very good coach. It's funny, though, at one time, Belichick, Carroll, and Nick Saban all coached together at different spots.
Mm-hmm.
So that's right there. Like, you got decades of experience right there. I mean, like decades. And then you're like, man, I don't like Nick Saban. I hate Bill Belichick, and I've never been a Pete Carroll fan. But you won't ever hear me say they're not all great coaches because they are. So
correct. I agree with that sentiment, right? And it just I guess it's a changing of guards now, man. With all three of those programs, and not just those programs, the landscape of the NFL and college football, man. It's a different era. This year we're gonna have no Nick Saban. We're gonna have crazy conferences this year because all the mergers and everything like that. The Big 12 is about to be a big 2 or 3 what you said or some crazy weird thing. Sorry, not the Big 12. The Pac-12 is about to be like the Pac-2 or something like that. We talked about that in our other podcast as well. And then now we got the playoff system, so it's a lot of change. It's gonna be a different year this year. But before we continue with that, I want to know what is the legacy of Nick? Tell me some of your favorite.
Well, I'm not a Nick Saban fan. I didn't like the fact that he left my pro team and went to Alabama. But the legacy will be he's one of the top 5 college football coaches of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, if you remember way back when we started this, me and I think it was Alan and Ryan were debating, was Nick Saban a better coach than Bear Bryant? I still don't think he's a better coach than Bear Bryant, but I think he's a great coach and he's a top 5, coach of all time. And is it debatable that if he's better, as good as Bear Bryant? Yeah, it's way more debatable. The one thing I will say about this from Alabama's part, they hired Kalen Deboer from Washington. Now, I feel 2 ways about that. For one, it's a great hire. The guy has won everywhere he's been. He's a very good coach, and he's a great hire. Two, it kind of makes me upset and hurt for Washington because they just get their
Yeah,
feet.
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. I just want to stay on Nick Saban for a second.
Okay, I got you. I didn't like that part.
I hear you. I for Nick Saban, for me, the one I always, again, I'm not a Nick Saban fan either. I don't like Alabama either. One thing I appreciate about him, that his just his defense, but like his DB coaching has been top tier coaching. I mean, you see all the tier, defensive players that's in the NFL. A lot of them are the DBs that came from Alabama. But I did like the recent emergence of a lot of the receivers they've been putting out, and I think that's for me kind of like not only too honestly too like the quarterback play and the receivers, like it started off with like Julio Jones, then you had like Calvin Ridley, you had Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddles, the Jameson Williams. Like you had a lot of talent in that wide receiver pool, and I'm pretty sure I missed a name or two in there because then you had the quarterbacks. I'm gonna because he was a first round pick. I know what he did in the NFL, but he's a good quarterback for Alabama. You got the Tuas, the Jalen Hurts, and it was always been a Alabama team that didn't have like the greatest quarterbacks. They always won by defense and run the ball. They had tons of great running backs in there. Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Najee Harris, just to name a few. So they always had the running backs. It's always been a defense play, but like the last few years have been better quarterback play, better wide receivers, things like that. So I've been very interesting. Even the offensive line, they always had offensive line, but the offensive line play been good. So I thought it was just very interesting to see how that dynamic was going for Alabama. They had been getting some higher recruited quarterbacks lately. Justin Saying. And very curious how that's going to kind of turn out now with Nick Saban not being there. We already had a couple of guys decommit already, but I thought it was very see how his philosophy kind of changed in the sense of getting different type of players in, and all right, I need to get better quarterback play now because the way college football is now, I got to kind of adapt to that kind of thing. Get better receivers, things like that. So I always thought that was very fascinating to see how that changed for him over the couple of last years, right?
No, I think that his legacy will be a great coach and probably, like you said, probably one of the greatest defensive back coach of all time, dude. Like the guy, he just like he got him from everywhere, man. And get me wrong, they're talented guys too, so that didn't help. I mean, that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
But to get them guys to go to you, they only go to you because of your reputation. So
Correct. Man, I thought that was see, but all right, let's get to the next part that you was talking about, Ray. Is Alabama already found their new coach, and he just played in national championship game. That'll be Kalen Deboer going to Alabama. So Ray, you kind of touched on it already. What's your thoughts on this hire?
Great hire. DeBoer is a very good offensive mind. He's been on every level he's ever been. He's always won. Good hire. I mean, he doesn't seem like an Alabama guy, which kind of like hit me a little bit by surprise. But I think you've seen Alabama, and like you said it yourself. You've seen Alabama where they've transitioned from a ground and pound team defense to where they're a little wide open now. And this is a perfect fit for them. This guy does that. So I think this is a good hire. I will state this. I'm not crazy about it for Washington again because they get their feet underneath of them, and now it's like you're cutting them at the knees. Now, I've heard different things about who they're going to hire, but if I were them, I would hire their offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb. He's a good coach. He will keep it where your recruiting will kind of like stay level where you don't lose a bunch of. Hopefully, you don't lose a bunch of guys because some guys are going to leave now. But if you go with Ryan Grubb, who did a really good job with the offense, maybe you can keep your recruiting in line where you don't lose too many kids.
Definitely. I mean, they already lost one of their recruits already, and Ryan Williams, one of the top receivers, going over there now. They did lose him, but that was before the board hire too. So I wonder if I don't know if you can recommit to a team. I've never seen that happen, but hey, you never know. I think it's a good hire. I agree with the Washington part. They were just getting their feet under them. I also know that Washington was gonna definitely have a hard reset because of how you had your top three guys going to the NFL. You know, Rome's going to the NFL, the wide receiver. Their running back going to the NFL, and obviously Penix. You know, and I think that was a big factor into Deboer's decision because we already know Deboer's coming from Indiana. He went to Washington. He brought Penix over with him to help him out over here. And you know, now that Penix is done because he's like a super senior, so he can't come back. I think that Deboer was like, you know what? Let me go to a place where at least I have a lot more talent around me. And then maybe can make my legacy, extend my legacy. So we'll see how that goes. I do also wonder how if or had a Alabama year the way Alabama started this year, how much will the team or fans kind of groan a little bit, because he's not Nick Saban. Saban had those type of years, Nick Saban kind of struggled the last 2 years a little bit, but it's Nick Saban, so it's like, okay, we can deal with it. But him and it kind of having this year, how it's going to turn out, because Jalen Monroe is still there. He's not the most polished quarterback at this point, so you're gonna have to get him up the park. And you gotta see how your recruits are coming in. Like I just mentioned, Justin Stan, I think he's coming in next year. So he's a young freshman, highly recruited guy. I think he was a 4-star, maybe 5-star quarterback. So you got the dynamic in there. Like change how that's gonna go for you. And then, like you said, right, there's gonna be guys that's gonna be transferring in, transferring out. A lot of moving parts. Some of the recruits that you already had on board are gonna leave just because of the not having a Nick Saban name behind them. And yes, the board was just in the national championship, but he lost the championship. So it's gonna be like how much of the kids that were already committed to Alabama or ready to commit to Alabama, it's like, you know what? Let me look around a little bit, So that's gonna be a big factor. I don't know how much recruiting power he's gonna have, but it's gonna be a very interesting few years for sure.
No, I agree. I think that Alabama hired a good coach. I think they'll be fine. I wonder if their defenses are going to be as good as they've been the last few years. But, I mean, again, they hired a good coach. They should be okay. It's Alabama. I mean, I know Alabama had some hard times before Nick Saban went there, so I don't want to act like it's just, it's so Alabama, because you never know.
Yeah.
Again, this guy has a good track record of being a good coach. So,
Correct. Now, my next thing is how much of the coaching staff is going to stay there. I mean, there's going to be guys that are just going to voluntarily leave. There's going to be guys like he's going to maybe want some of his own guys. I think it's a good coaching staff. I just wonder how that's going to go. Maybe some of these coaches are going to other teams. I don't know how many head coaching jobs are still open, but I'm pretty sure other teams might be looking at some of these coordinators and like, hey, we could probably use him as a head coaching job.
I wonder if you're a guy like Tommy Rees who left Notre Dame to go to Alabama for 1 year now, if you are rethinking that a little bit now. Because are you going to be part of Alabama's plans moving forward, or are you going to be one of the casualties because your offense is going to be different now?
100%. Yeah, and a team like Michigan, we're not sure what Jim Harbaugh is going to do. are we gonna try to tap into some of those coordinators over there, or keep it within house, like
Well,
more did a really good job, and Jim Harbaugh was out. Are we gonna try to keep him in there as a head coach there if he does decide to leave? There's a lot of moving needs to get
I think I think
with
the one difference I see is if Harbaugh were to leave Michigan, I think they would just let what's his name just step right in and more and be like just step in and be that coach, right?
and that would be my number one, but you never know too. Like they might just like him as the offense coordinator. So um, we'll definitely see.
Yeah.
For the most part, I want to see how this goes. I'm very curious how this goes, though. That Alabama hire was really fast, though. I will say that was
It was
really, really
really fast. That same thing with the New England. It's weird. New England's hire was really fast, also.
fast. Getting Jerome Merrill. At least Jerome Merrill was in house, and they knew like they liked him. This is a completely new guy from a different state.
I kind of wonder how Nick Saban feels about that, though. Like, you hired a guy that was on my staff, like within minutes after you hired me. Like after I left. I mean, and I like Draw Mayo. I think he's a good coach. He was a pretty solid player. I just wonder how the transition is going to be. I don't think New England's going to be good for a couple years, man, if at all.
I agree. I agree. That's gonna be weird because like, I was listening to this on sports radio as well. It's like it's nice you're getting a young, defensive mind guy, blah blah blah. But it's like, how much of a difference is it going to be with him from the, I mean, not Nick Saban,
Bill Belichick.
Belichick. Yeah, with Bill Belichick, he been under Bill Belichick for so long as a player, as a coach, So is he gonna have his own little wrinkles in there, or is it gonna be a lot of the same? So we'll see. We'll see. But
It's going to be interesting
yeah,
for sure.
man, I definitely gonna be interesting. Definitely gonna be interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's today, guys. Ray, you got a quick rant? You wanna?
You know what? I don't know if this is a rant. I mean, I keep talking about how I don't like where college football is going. I wanted to add one more thing. Like I said earlier, I think that if you leave a program for NIL money, then you should be made to give the money back to the program once you leave. I mean, I understand it's your money, technically, you earned it, but I don't agree with that. If you earned it, then you stay. And the other thing that I wish they would do right now, don't allow anybody to enter the portal until after the bowl season, please.
I agree.
You're hurting your own sport. People talk more about the portal than they do about the games right now.
Yeah. Well, the playoffs should help that out. We'll see. It should help that out, maybe.
No, because again, it's going to be like, oh, well, we have 7,000 kids in the portal. I mean, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
I agree.
And this is the last thing I'll close it out with this is that, we love to call these kids student athletes, but they're not now. They're pros.
Yeah.
So let's not act like they're student athletes no more. There's no kids' gloves. You're being paid like a pro. Act like a pro. Play like a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I agree with that, man. That's some good words right there. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. As you know, Monday is the draft declaration deadline. So right after that, we're gonna have our podcast back on Wednesday next week, hopefully. We're gonna definitely talk about some of the players decorating from the junior class. We're gonna be talking about some Senior Bowl stuff and all that. So it's gonna be some good stuff. Don't think college football is over, that it's gonna be over for us. No, we get into the draft. Talk about a lot of draft stuff. So keep it locked in with us. Any coaching changes, things like that. We definitely report on that. Ray, did you want to say something?
No, I'm just wondering, how coaches are like what the team's going to look like next year with the new conferences. It's going to shake things up and make it exciting. It will, if nothing else. It absolutely will. Now we have coaches switching teams or leaving teams and other teams having to hire other coach. It's going to make everything almost like a clean slate.
Yeah,
Especially if Harbaugh leaves Michigan.
definitely. I forgot to mention this, but do you think Deboer is running from Michigan? I mean, it's about to go back in our division or in our conference, and now he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go on the SEC side.
Honestly, I think.
I'm joking.
No, I know you're just half-heartedly kidding, but I think that in a way he saw, like you said, he's lost Michael Penix. Is he going to be able to replace Michael Penix at Washington? It's going to be very difficult. You're going to have a lot easier time replacing anybody you get at Alabama, though. So I think it was just for him, it's a great move. I mean, he has nothing to do, but it's a great move for him.
Yes, I agree. So we'll definitely see, man. But keep it locked with us on our RPO College Football Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification button, hit that QR code, my QR code right there. Ray's is right there in that corner, right under him. So make sure you hit that. That brings social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That definitely supports and helps us out, and also lets you know when we go live. So if you don't go live on Wednesday, when the next time we go live, you can see it's coming pop up on there. So make sure that you check us out. So I know we're on a different day and time right now. It's a little early. It's Saturday morning, but we just wanted to get this news out to you guys and talk about the championship game and stuff like that, the coaching news and everything like that. So again, if you love draft knowledge and draft stuff, keep it up here at Inside the Hatches because we're going to be going to the Senior Bowl. We're going to be talking about all that in this podcast as well. All the draft stuff. You're going to be breaking, our top 5 players of each position like we do every year. Me and Ray's going to be talking about, draft needs, team needs. We're going to be doing some mock drafts. We're going to bring on some special guests for it as well. So definitely keep it locked here, man. This is College Football Podcast. It's not the end. We do this all year round. We love what we do, and we're going to keep the news flowing with you guys. So that's going to do it for us today, guys. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Thank you guys for checking us in. Again, please make sure you support us. And we thank each and every one of you coming in. We appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your NFL. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.